Hey y'all, this is Philippe the Learn to Grow guy. Today we're going to talk about plantains, okay? But let me tell you a story first. Sometimes last year I was riding in the riding mower, and what happened is that there was a bunch of wasps that made a nest in the gate itself, okay? Now, the pipes that make up the gate, they're hollow, and they have these little tiny openings along each of the horizontal bars where drainage is supposed to happen if need be. But the wasps seem to have utilized that as a hole to go inside of the fencing, the hollow pipe, and make a nest in there. Now, I knew that there was a nest in there because every time I would go to open the gate, what would happen is that the wasp would come out and I would go through this little battle with them as to where I would spray them with soapy water, and that would basically get them out of my way so that I'm able to open the gate. Well, at some point while I was mowing, I had totally forgotten about the wasp, and the gate was wide open, and I got a little too close to the fencing with the mower, and basically what happened is that the the back tire of the mower started vibrating the gate, and once that started happening, those suckers came out of there, and they just went after me like crazy. Fair, okay. So I jumped off the mower. The mower automatically shut off, and those son of a guns, they stung me. They stung me in the chest. They stung me in multiple locations throughout my body. But for me at that point, it was on. So what I ended up doing that night is that I went back. I used some permethrin, I think it was, and I sprayed every little hole that was on the gate, and that was basically the end of them. Now to go back when I was getting stung, when I jumped off that riding mower and and got away from those suckers, what I had to do is that I had to find some plantains, okay? And those plantains are what a lot of you guys in the city would classify as weeds. Even folks in the country would classify them as weeds as well, okay? What I did was that I took some, chewed some, and put them directly on the things that was bothering me the most. Like the one I had on my chest, that one was bothering me the most. So I quickly put some of that on there, and I said within a few seconds, the stinging basically went away. All right. Um, I did it in other various other parts of my body where I got stung, and again, I got the same results. So what I'm saying is that plantains have a medicinal use as to where it can actually help get rid of sting bites. Now, plantains come in two varieties. Okay, they come in two varieties. The back of them looks like this. They're very veiny. Okay, this is the broadleaf one. All right, it's wide leaf, and the leaves get a whole lot larger than this. Okay, they can get a whole lot larger than this. Now, on the other hand, you also have the narrow leaf one. Okay, they're both the same species, or I guess they're just different varieties of the same species. The backs are the same, still veiny. Okay, it's just that one is slender, and the other one is more rounder. Okay, now what I've been doing today is that I've been harvesting plantains for various uses. Now, the main purpose of my uses is for the future because when I first came to this property, I did not have plantains growing out here. Okay, I didn't have plantains. So what I did is that I went back to Chicago, where I had an abundance of weeds growing in the area around the property we had in Chicago, and that's where I gathered some dandelions as well as some plantains. So I came out here after I gathered the plantain seeds, and from Chicago. It's same with dandelions, and I sprinkled them some of everywhere. I walked up and down every driveway that we had, and I was just going around, um, prancing along and just distributing the seeds wherever they went and such. Okay. So, but anyways, I've got plantains growing around the property, all throughout the property at this point, at least around the areas that I use. And I guess I'm hoping that some of the critters, birds, whatever, the wind will blow some of the seeds even further inland throughout the property, so that if I'm ever inland and I have a need for plantains for whatever purpose, that that I'm able to use them. Now, let me talk with you about some of the plantains and some of what their uses are. Okay, I had to take some notes to make sure that I kept my thoughts in order, because sometimes I can be scrambled brain and popping out information about this here, this, that, all out of order, all out of sequence. Now, plantain, for me to be able to have chewed it in my mouth, it had to be somewhat, somewhat edible. Okay, because otherwise I had to spit everything out. But nonetheless, I was able to chew the plantain, and I did not worry about whether or not I was going to die from. Oh my God, I died from plantain poisoning. I didn't have to worry about that. Okay, 2 points. Number one, I'm not a doctor. Number two, I recommend that you do your own research on plantains as well. Okay, again, do your own research, and I'm not a doctor. Okay, the leaves are actually edible. You can actually eat the young leaves. The young leaves are more tender compared to the older or more mature leaves, okay? The more mature leaves are tougher, and so those would require you to cook them or to maybe put them in put them in your smoothies and stuff like that, okay? For me, it's like the younger leaves, the brand new leaves in the early springs is the ones that I would recommend eating, because they're more tender. You can put that in your salads if you want, or you can just eat it raw as you're on the go or whatever, okay? Now, as far as the plant itself, I guess you can say, I'm not sure about the roots. I can't tell you about the roots, but what I can tell you is that the seeds themselves, the seeds are edible as well. You can put them in your smoothies. You can put them in other stuff that you're cooking. There's a lot of things that you can do with them. Okay, for example, let's see. Oh, here's a little bit of detail about the seeds. The seeds have they're rich in proteins. Of course, since they're seeds, to some degree they are also rich in fiber. Okay, and lastly, they also have a lot of. They also have some. I don't want to say a whole lot because I didn't take any measurements or anything to that nature. They have some of the omega-3 fatty acids in them also. Okay, for those of you whom that makes a difference to, it has all that. Little tiny flies flying around everywhere. Okay, the seeds can be eaten raw and they can be cooked. Okay, it's all up to you depending on how you decide you want to use it. Again, the plant is an edible one, and again, since I'm saying it is edible, my viewpoint is that do your own research. Okay. Now, going back to the leaves. The leaves are nutritious. They're rich in the vitamins. Vitamin A, C, and K. They also have a variety of minerals that's in them as well. Some of the minerals are calcium, magnesium, as well as iron. Okay. Those are some of the, I guess, edible aspects of it. Okay. Again, you can eat them raw. You can put them in salads. You can cook them, especially the more mature ones. Okay. All right. As far as medicinal stuff is concerned, it's an anti-inflammatory. It's also antibacterial, antifungal, and its main thing is actually for wound healing. Okay, it's got some soothing stuff in it. Like I said, even with the stinging that I've got on my chest from last year and such from the wasps, it's got stuff that soothes all that stuff out. It neutralizes the stinging effect. So. As far as some of the things that it's good for besides stings, it's good for rashes, cuts, for apparently some respiratory things as well, okay? So it's got a variety of different things that it's good for. Now, what I'm going to do with the plantains that I have harvested, okay, let me show you what I've harvested. I think on a previous video that I showed you what I was when I was harvesting them. This is what I've harvested. See that? I've got a nice little bowl full, and now what I've got to do is clean them up, and I'm going to be dehydrating all of them, okay? And here's why I'm going to dehydrate them. As I mentioned before, I don't have plantains growing around everywhere. I'm looking forward to the winds blowing them everywhere, blowing the seeds everywhere, so that they can grow everywhere throughout the property. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, once I clean them, I'm going to run them through my dehydrator. And in doing so, what I'm going to be doing is preserving the plantains for future use, okay? Now, I have not looked into the respiratory aspect of plantains, but I do know that for wound care, You can make what is that? You can make a what is that? A tincture? No, 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 no. You don't. Well, I guess you could, but I don't think you want to do that for something that's for skincare because tinctures have alcohol in them. Okay, but you can use them for salves. You can make a salve out of it. Okay, you can follow whatever recipe you use for making salves. And the other thing that you can make with it is you can make infused oils. Okay, again, which is to basically get some of the dried plants. You want them to be as dry as possible and put that in a jar. Put your favorite oil in them and stuff like that. One of the oils I actually like. I'm looking at trying to use down the lines for stuff like infused oils as well as for salves is actually what is that oil? Yes, I want to use some coconut oil because that has some antimicrobial properties in it, but I also want to use what's that thing, castor oil. Also, you want to use some castor oil in that also because castor oil has a deep penetrating effect that I like, that I think would be very wise to use as far as tinctures as well as some of the infused oils that you're looking at. Okay. Now, when I store these, I'm going to store the leaves in two ways. One of them is going to be the leaves, cut up leaves, so that it's how you say, so that I have a larger surface area. This is going to be cut up, chopped up into finer pieces, so that if I'm going to infuse it, if I'm going to if I'm going to infuse oils with it, if I'm going to make salves out of it, so that it's easier for the oil to do the penetrating and stuff like that. Okay, winds are picking up. Got to put the umbrella thing down. So that's one aspect of doing it, is to have it in chopped up version. Okay, the other way I'm going to store the plantain leaves is I'm going to make a powder out of some. Okay, now the powder form is the form that I'm going to be carrying with me when I go walking throughout the property as a means of first aid, because if I get stung, if I have anything that's going to require antiseptic properties and stuff like that, the quick way to do that is I can always take some of the powder, add some water to it or some honey to it, and I can apply it, and that will rehydrate the leaves, since it's in such small quantity, since it has such large surface area in a powdered form, that it should not take too long for it to actually rehydrate. Okay, and I can take that, I can apply that to wherever it is that I need. I can even take some of that powder, put it in my mouth, and let my saliva, or I can spit the saliva onto some of the powder on the palm of my hand, and mix that up, get it rehydrated, and apply it directly to my wounds. Okay, that is a way that you can actually use it in the powder form. I think it's a faster way of using it instead of taking leaves out there into the woods. And if I have a need for it, then I would have to take the leaves, soak them in some warm water so that they can rehydrate, and then pound them up into a pulp or whatever, and then I can have to apply. That would take, for me, that would just take too long. So my viewpoint, I think the powder form is probably the better way of doing things. Okay, but for you, you can do it however you choose. But that's what I'm looking at. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get to work. I've got some leaves to wash, and I've got some leaves to dehydrate. And once they're done dehydrating, some of them will be. I'm going to break them up into smaller pieces. And after doing that, what I'm going to be doing is powdering um, some of the leaves. Okay, and if you see me looking off to the side like this here, it's because the camera's off to the side instead of me looking straight ahead into the, I'm sorry, not the camera, the how you say, the my image is off to the side. I'm looking at my image instead of looking at the camera, which is right there. I'm pointing at you directly now. I'm probably looking at you directly too. That's what's going on right now. Okay, so anyway, y'all, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave any comments below. Leave any comments that you think could possibly help somebody else. Okay. All right. Y'all take care.